Today we're deep diving into the historic bouts between two legendary heavyweights, Joe Louis and Max Schmeling. But these fights weren't just about boxing, they were played out against the backdrop of the rise of Nazism and Adolf Hitler. These two heavyweights, one from Hitler's Nazi Germany and the other from the USA, fought two fights in 1936 and 1938. Schmeling was a former world champion, and Joe Louis was an unbeaten black heavyweight. The first fight was highly publicised and took place in the Yankee Stadium in the Bronx, New York, in front of a 38,000 strong crowd. Before we delve into the matches, let's get to know the two contenders. In the red corner, we have the brown bomber from Detroit, Joe Louis, a rising star in the boxing world. Unbeaten and regarded as a champion in waiting, destined to take on the current world heavyweight champion, James Braddock. Louis was regarded as unbeatable. Although Louis was not a popular figure in white America, as he often taunted white opponents in the ring, he was also married to a white woman, which was also seen as unfavourable, especially in the racially segregated southern states. And in the blue corner, hailing from Germany, Max Schmeling, a skilled fighter with ties to the Nazi regime. Schmeling was a 10-1 underdog, a polite and softly spoken man. He was a sporting hero in Germany. Although he was not actually a Nazi party member, he was a loyal supporter of Hitler. Indeed, Hitler turned a blind eye to the fact that Schmeling's flamboyant manager, Joe Jacobs, was a Jew from New York. Our story begins on June 19, 1936, when Louis and Schmeling faced off for the first time. Louis was undefeated and considered unbeatable, but Schmeling had other plans. The stage was set for the first clash between Joe Louis and Max Schmeling on June 19, 1936 at the Yankee Stadium in New York City. Joe Louis, the undefeated and rising star from the United States, faced off against Max Schmeling, the skilled German fighter with ties to the Nazi regime. The build-up to this match was nothing short of spectacular. The tension between the two fighters was palpable. Louis, with his explosive style and powerful punches, was the favourite, but Schmeling's experience and strategic approach made him a formidable opponent. The bout took on an added layer of significance as it became a symbol of political and racial tensions brewing on the global stage. As the world watched the outcome of Louis v Schmeling, the political climate in Europe was intensifying. Adolf Hitler's Nazi regime sought to use Schmeling's success for propaganda purposes. The build-up to the fight saw an escalation in Nazi racist rhetoric, although to his credit, Schmeling did not join in. The boxing match was to be broadcast live on the radio all over the world, and on the eve of the fight, German radio announced, "It is every German's obligation to stay up tonight. Max will fight overseas with a Negro for the hegemony of the white race." The fight began at 10:06 p.m. New York time and 4 a.m. in Germany. As the bell rang, the crowd witnessed an intense battle between two heavyweight giants. Louis started strong, showcasing his speed and power. However, Schmeling's calculated approach paid off, and in the 12th round, he delivered a crushing right-hand punch that sent Louis to the canvas. The underdog had pulled off a shocking victory, marking the first defeat of Joe Louis' professional career, and one of the biggest upsets in boxing history. The victory for Schmeling was portrayed in Germany as a victory for the racially superior Aryan race. Goebbels wrote in his diary, "In the 12th round, Schmeling knocks out the Negro. Wonderful. A dramatic, exciting fight. The white man over the black man, and the white man is German." He sent a telegram to Schmeling congratulating him. Hitler sent flowers to Schmeling's wife, Annie Ondra, a popular Czech film star. Schmeling was now a national hero and returned to Germany aboard the Hindenburg airstrip on the 26th of June. To a cheering crowd of more than 10,000 people at Frankfurt Airport. The official SS newspaper, Das Schwarze claimed Schmeling had saved the reputation of the white race. On the 27th of June, Schmeling met with Hitler for coffee and cake at the Reich Chancellery. He took with him the official film of the fight to be shown at Hitler's personal cinema. As Hitler watched, he gave a running commentary, slapping his thigh with delight every time Schmeling landed a punch. The film of the Schmeling v Louis fight premiered in Berlin on the 8th of July. and played to huge audiences around Germany. Schmeling became a Nazi sporting superstar, which was embarrassing to the boxing authorities in the US. However, despite losing the match, Louis was granted a world title shot against the current world heavyweight champion James Braddock. Joe Louis defeated Braddock with a knockout punch, but said, "I ain't no champion until I beat Schmeling." Fast forward to June the 22nd, 1938, and the much anticipated rematch took place. Louis was determined to avenge his previous loss, while Schmeling aimed to prove that his victory wasn't a fluke. The fight was again staged at the Yankee Stadium, New York, with a cheering crowd of 66,000 and over 100 million people tuning in over the airwaves. It was billed as the Battle of the Century. The fight was racially charged, as the political world had entered the sporting world. After his victory in 1936, Schmeling had become a key symbol for the Aryan supremacy, a living, breathing specimen of the master race. Schmeling told reporters on his arrival to New York, "In Germany, they call me the champion." The fight was to go ahead, despite vocal protests from Jewish and anti-Nazi organizations in the United States. On the day of the fight, Schmeling received a telegram from Adolf Hitler. It simply read, "Wishing you every success." As the fight started, Louis was out for revenge and started quickly, hitting Schmeling with a flurry of devastating punches. Schmeling was only being held upwards by the ropes, but the intensity of Louis' punches soon saw Schmeling on the canvas. He managed to regain his feet, but not for long, as Louis continued mauling Schmeling and blow by blow forced Schmeling back onto the canvas. His cornerman threw in the towel, but in those days, this was not recognised as capitulation by the New York State Boxing Code. So the referee allowed the fight to continue. Louis was relentless, throwing more punches into the ailing body of Schmeling. Schmeling went down again, and the referee stopped the fight after counting to 8. It is one of the most famous and important boxing matches of all time. Louis's victory in the second bout had ripple effects beyond the boxing ring. It symbolised the triumph over Nazi ideology and made Joe Louis a hero for many, transcending racial and national boundaries. With the fight broadcast live again on German radio at 3 a.m, after the defeat, however, the broadcast ended rather abruptly. "A terrible defeat," Goebbels wrote in his diary. Apparently, Hitler had not been able to listen to the fight, but was extremely depressed when news of Schmeling's defeat reached him. The Ministry of Propaganda immediately went into overdrive with a damage limitation exercise, issuing a directive to stop carrying reports and photographs of the boxing match. There was no film shown in Germany of the fight in the cinemas. Hitler made it clear to Schmeling that he did not want him to fight Louis ever again, so as to avoid another embarrassing and humiliating defeat. Subsequently, when war broke out in 1939, Schmeling was drafted into the armed forces and served as a paratrooper. Hitler drafted Schmeling into a paratrooper for the Luftwaffe. After brief military service and a comeback attempt in 1947 and 48, Schmeling retired from professional boxing. He would go on to invest his earnings in various post-war businesses. His resistance to the Nazi Party elevated his status once again to that of a hero in post-war Germany. Meanwhile, Joe Louis went on to become a major celebrity in the United States and is considered the first true African-American national hero. When other prominent blacks questioned whether African Americans should serve against the Axis nations in the segregated US Armed Forces, Louis disagreed, saying, "There are a lot of things wrong with America, but Hitler ain't gonna fix them." He would go on and serve the United States Army during World War II, but he did not engage in battle while the war was going on. He mostly visited soldiers in Europe to provide them with motivational speeches and with boxing exhibitions. He kept defending the World Heavyweight title until 1949, making 25 consecutive title defences, still a world record among all weight divisions for men's boxing. Louis' finances evaporated later in life and he became involved in the use of illicit drugs. Louis and Schmeling developed a friendship outside the ring which endured until Louis' death in April 12, 1981. Their rivalry and friendship was the focus of the 1978 TV movie Ring of Passion. Louis got a job as a greeter at the Caesars Palace Hotel in Las Vegas, and Schmeling flew to visit him every year. Louis was reportedly so in need of money but too damaged to box anymore, so the former champion took up professional wrestling to make ends meet. Schmeling reportedly also sent Louis money in Louis's later years and covered part of the cost of Louis's funeral, at which he was a pallbearer. Schmeling died 24 years later on February 5, 2005 at the age of 99. He was ranked 55 on the Ring's list of 100 greatest punchers of all time in 2003. Both Louis and Schmeling are members of the International Boxing Hall of Fame. And so, as we reflect on these historic matches, it's essential to consider the lasting legacy they left behind. Joe Louis and Schmeling's story is a testament to the power of sports in transcending political boundaries and shaping history. And there you have it, the incredible saga of Joe Louis and Max Schmeling, two titans whose battles went beyond the boxing ring. If you enjoyed this journey through history, don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Until next time.